Could this be the last time we see Mitch Marner as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs? I'm joined today on a D2D version with Frankie, Corrado. And Frankie, look, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because, let's be honest, the Maple Leafs still have a Game 6 to play. And so much can change based on the result of tonight's game and maybe even a Game 7. But there's a lot of people speculating right now what the odds are for Mitch Marner, this being his last game as a Maple Leaf. Where do you set the odds on that?
Well, listen, I think a lot of that is going to depend on what happens in this game, and if the Toronto Maple Leafs do find a way to win this game, what happens in Game 7. It is a long road back as far as winning this series for the Maple Leafs because of how well the Florida Panthers have played, and now it feels like they have a stranglehold on things. But if it ends this way, in this fashion, with how poorly Marner and Matthews played in Game 5 on home ice, you would have to think that this is as open the door has ever been for a massive change as far as the core four in Toronto, because we now have plenty of sample size. We've had it in the past as far as this not working, but with the contract being up, it gives you the easiest out to make a significant change to the group, and that would include Mitch Marner.
Yeah, so much to talk about with Matthews and Marner coming off of the performance, like you said, that they had in the last game. Going into this game, how much of a short leash do you think Craig Berube is going to have on these two guys? You think they're going to start the game together, but do you think he wastes enough time to split them up?
You know what, Carlo? I wouldn't even start them together in this game. I would go right to Matthews and Nylander, and I would have Tavares and Marner together right off the hop. We know that it didn't work in Game 5. And now you're going to have a hard matchup situation going into Florida where Barkov is going to be all over the Matthews-Marner line. So maybe you can find a way to spread things out a little bit that way, avoid some of those hard minutes against the top players from the Florida Panthers. But I would not think for a second that I would have Matthews and Marner stapled together for the duration of this game. If it doesn't happen at the start of the game, as far as splitting them up, and if it's not going well early, I would suggest you make that change sooner rather than later.
We've all seen the statistics of the Maple Leafs core four players and their production in these type of games. Let's look at Nylander and Matthews. Why does FanDuel have better odds for Nylander to score versus Matthews to score in this game? If I'm picking a guy, I'm picking Nylander to score a goal. Where do you side on this one?
Well, I think the thing for Auston Matthews is he's got to be due to score a goal at some point. Like the last time he scored was the series deciding game against the Ottawa Senators. And, you know, the reality is Auston Matthews is way too good of a goal scorer to go this long without finding a way. So it's been tough circumstances against a Florida Panthers team that is stout defensively, but Auston Matthews is just way too good of a goal scorer. So at some point he's going to have to factor in. And if he doesn't, the series will be over. But I think it's more Auston Matthews, he's due to score a goal at some point here.
Well, if the Maple Leafs are going to win, they're going to need one or both of those guys to chip in a goal, because you look at the Panthers lately, it looks like they're finding their game, especially defensively, outscoring the Maple Leafs 8-1 in the last two games. So the Maple Leafs definitely need to tighten up. The Panthers' goal total in this one is set at 3.5. Where are you siding on this one?
Well, so the Panthers' goal total, 3.5. I am going to take the under because I can see Toronto putting a lot of time, effort, and energy as far as the defensive side of the puck in this game. And for the Florida Panthers, they are comfortable winning a 2-1, a 3-2, a 3-1 style of game. So I think that lends itself to the Panthers potentially being on the under of 3.5.
Well, let's look at this game. It's a huge Game 6. Could go either way. The momentum's on Florida's side. Let's put together an SGP tonight to pad our pockets going into the long weekend. Where are you looking?
All right, Carlo, why don't we start with Brad Marchand to get a point. He's got 5 points through 5 games in this series. He has had a lot of success against the Toronto Maple Leafs over the duration of his playoff career. I don't expect that to stop in a game where the Florida Panthers can clinch it and go to the Eastern Conference Final. William Nylander, 3+ shots on net. Listen, we know Toronto is going to have to make a push and throw everything that they possibly can at Sergei Bobrovsky, who's been unbelievable, and the Florida Panthers. And Nylander has found ways to generate breakaways or streaking down the wing opportunities where he can get a shot off. So I like William Nylander to be a Leafs player who has a push and get 3+ shots. And the under of 5.5 in this game. I can totally see this being a 2-1, a 3-1, a 3-2 type of game. And after coming off a game where the Florida Panthers really filled the back of the net, I think there will be a conscious effort by the Maple Leafs to make sure that this game doesn't get away from them. So I'm taking the under.
Marchand point, Nylander plus 3+ shots, and the under the game plus 742. That's a way to go into the weekend. Thanks, Frankie.